what is the most effective way to manage teams? So this question I have very often from many people from you in this audience. People ask me that all the time, like how to manage a team, especially like with Thai people, because many expats come here, create a company, but they don't necessarily know how to manage the Thai people, Thai developers and designers, because of the culture prime. And we can have your view on that as well, because you're Thai, obviously, and you can tell us how you do that kind of thing as well.
Okay, well, I'm Thai, but I'm born and raised in the UK, so I have a very different take on being Thai. But it's a bit of a misnomer, I think, how you treat a Thai team. I think it's treated like human beings, basically. You just hire the right people, and they will work for you. It's pretty simple. If you find the people that are passionate, that resonate with your core business beliefs, or just as a person, they'll do some really, really great work, and they'll understand. You've got to get them to buy into the idea of what you're doing, like any employee in the West or wherever. If they buy into the idea, they'll just work their tails off for you. But you just treat them really well. One of our sort of core beliefs in the company or manifestos is, happy people do good work, and if they're happy, they will do good work. That's pretty much it. So, if I was to cite an example, I guess quickly. For instance, we try and just do these sort of side benefits in the company to keep them happy. It's very startup-ishy kind of things, but just buy, fill up the fridge with soda or buy snacks on Friday. The beer really helps. So when we say the free beer on Fridays, they come storming down. So it's quite funny when I'm advertising Block 9, and people will reply and go, "Really, free beer?" Or I just replied just to see if this thing was real. Really free beer, but that kind of helps. And just give them a little slack. I mean, I think some companies might tend to be quite overly sort of strict with some of the Thai staff. You don't really need to be. We just afford them pretty much every freedom that most startups maybe tend to give, which is we're pretty flexi on time. Here's a deadline, just get the job done within a specified time. But if not, just tell us in advance, and that kind of thing. There's a few niggly things that we do go through, such that Thai people tend not to speak up a whole lot. Some cultural things still permeate through the team, so they don't always speak up. It's a bit of a problem, but it's not a big deal. And we try and drill this sort of mindset to them daily. That if you've got a problem, just come to us. It's no big deal. Just tell us early, and they do. So just give it time.
I think that's the same key thing is hiring great people, hiring motivated people, and then empowering them just to do their job. So one of the aspects of Agile, how we work, is self-managed teams. So every day there's a stand-up meeting, a scrum, where the team will kind of review the work that they've done the previous day. So essentially everyone in that team is accountable to each other. So it doesn't require a manager looking over their shoulder, seeing what's done, because they're accountable to their peers. And as long as people are motivated individuals that you've hired, then you don't have that concern. So I think it seems a misconception that you need to have an authoritarian management style in Thailand. I've read that, I've heard people say that. I think we're really relaxed, we're the opposite.
Yeah, and I've heard a lot of people are saying you always need to be behind their shoulders. I don't agree with that.
I think we're the complete opposite. We're pretty laissez-faire because we know that they're going to get the job done. We know that they're not here to, they're there to work. They're not there to mess us around, but they can do it in their own way.
I've seen many people are always behind their shoulder and say do this, do that, and almost push the mouse for them. It's kind of weird.
I'd say the number one rule is just treat your team like gold. My employees are more important to me than my customers, really. We have quite a nice office space here in Bangkok. We have lots of stuff in there, like pool table, and Xbox, and all the kind of sort of stuff you'd find in a West Coast startup. And I can tell you that none of it's for the customers, it's all for the employees. The location of the office is for the employees, not for the customers. We again, we definitely allow people to manage themselves. There is some things in Thai culture, particularly the thing that you said about people not speaking up, that are sometimes a problem. I mean, generally IT guys are possibly not the most outgoing guys anyway. No offense to anyone here. But so what we do, we have tools in place that allow them to speak without necessarily speaking. So we run a hip chat system internally, so that everybody's got like a room for each project, and we have a room for the entire company, and everybody's in there kind of just chewing the fat during the day and posting funny stuff and whatever. So that breaks a lot of barriers down for us. I guess the other way, we do run a fairly relaxed work ethic, so we start in the morning, everybody has to be in by 10:30. Some guys come in at 9 and leave earlier, some guys come in at 10:29. But everybody's there at 10:30, we're all stood around the pool table for a quick stand-up. It's kind of false economy to make people get there for 9 o'clock, because my guys start at 10:30, but I can tell you if I look at the timesheets every month, they've worked way more hours than I'm paying them for, than they're contracted to work. And everybody enjoys working there. We have benefits like we do a free lunch on a Friday, all that kind of stuff. We make it a fun place to work. Additionally, we also make it a competitive place to work in terms of your tech skills. So we do quite strict peer review of code among teams. And it's almost got to the point now where it's a game. It's like, can you find fault in other people's code? And it's everyone has quite a lot of fun picking holes in everybody else's code, which is great for us because it means everybody's learning, everybody's getting better and better, the quality of the code is getting better and better all the time. Plus it's a big competition for everyone as well. So.
It's good. Derek?
Certainly I'll echo hiring great people is essential, and we've invested a lot in doing that. And one of your questions on managing teams, managers, and we have a strong belief that you should be a leader before you're a manager. And so if somebody says, I want to be a manager, our answer is, then go be a leader. Do it. And another interesting thing you'll learn is there's lots of great leaders who don't want to be managers. Managers have to hire, they have to fire, they have to do reviews, they have to tell people they don't get the salary increase they wanted. There's lots of kind of the classic HR overhead that a manager has. And there are some people who really are domain experts, maybe in some part of the business, design or front-end dev or something, and they like the leadership role, they like being a mentor, but they want to stay as a member of the team. And we really encourage that. And if you're using things like Agile, we've adapted our process where work comes into teams and teams manage their work. You can have self-managing teams, and the leader will play the role of, say, escalating, we're really behind, or if there's an issue with a person, communicating, you can really look to that leader, and they're not necessarily a manager, and that's let us stay kind of very flat and flexible, and to make sure that if people step into management roles, they've really shown their people skills, their whatever technical or business chops they need, their ability to lead and motivate people. That's been really important. I think in terms, I would echo the same things about, I don't find it's distinctly different to manage Thais than our expats. We're mostly maybe 10 expats, 55 plus Thais. Speaking up a little bit, we do these thousands of support tickets every month, and every one we close, we ask our client, did we do really well or could we have done better? And if they say you could have done better, that generates an email to Corey and I, and the person who closed that ticket needs to report what happened. And people learned in our culture that it was okay. Sometimes the answer is I screwed up. So, what did we learn? What can we do better? And many times it's I need more training, the process wasn't clear, the form the client filled out didn't give me clear info or something like that. So once people learn, nobody's going to be yelled at. You just speak up the truth of what happened. It's okay. There's a great book called Your Mind at Work, and the author, who I forget, has a model he calls SCARF, of which I forget what SCARF stands for, like status, autonomy, relatedness or something, but basically our neurological wiring that makes us respond certain ways. And we really do a lot of things by the SCARF model. You know, your boss behind you is psychologically, neurologically the same as the tiger jumping out of the jungle to eat you. And you can't control your responses and such. And we, you know, it's just treating people nice and with respect and creating an environment that brings out the best in those sorts of things that are inside of all of us. And they may have nuances that are cultural, but nobody likes to be yelled at.
I think one other thing is it's important to inspire the team. So for them to actually know why they're working on something. So it can be a common mistake that the business owners, the clients, they'll sit around in a room, they'll discuss the objectives, why they're doing what they're doing. They'll come up with a brief, and then they'll hand that brief to the development team and say, okay, can you build that? And without really knowing the purpose, what's the problem it's going to solve, what's the, once it's finished, what's the view for this, what's the vision of this product, or if it's it could be a startup in itself. And I think helping them share that vision, know what they're part of, that itself is motivating. Also knowing, how they fit into, what's the company's strategy, what's the company's objectives. So we use OKRs, objectives and key results, where we set a small number of kind of company objectives. We then have the results, which are kind of the different metrics that each person is going to contribute to those objectives. So each person knows how their individual efforts kind of contribute to the overall company objectives and strategy. And I think just by having that ownership, by knowing, the kind of the role they're playing in the bigger picture, I think, that's inspiring and that builds the motivation.